Oh, it's Tuesday. You know what that means. It's normal world. Hump night, I like to call Tuesdays. It's right before hump day. Joining me today is the great Derek Richards.
And for Dave Landau today.
That's right.
And for Dave.
Of
course, the amazing Angela's here as well.
Thank you for the acknowledgement. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. Dave is not here. Dave had an incident.
Yes, he did.
This past weekend. He's been detained. We actually, it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
We actually have footage of this. This is really quite disturbing. So.
Oh God, what's it? No.
You know.
Oh. He had a gas pump. In his, yeah.
Yeah, we saw it.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to describe it. It's okay. We are taking donations for Dave's fund in the form of comments and likes and subscriptions. So please do that. We appreciate you.
This is for bail money.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should be out.
We send off the numbers to the bank and they give us money.
Oh, that's
that
nice.
money to the Bells.
Well, you can get free money from the banks today anyway, so that's...
You can get shots.
Totally.
I'm hearing you get that from the government.
You can get shots from the government.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later. Dave, by the way, can be seen at the Summit City Comedy Club in Fort Wayne, Indiana, June 14th and 15th. I will be there with him.
Hopefully with pants on.
He'll have pants on. He won't have a gas pump stuck up his ass. I will be at the Traverse City Comedy Club in Traverse City, Michigan, May 31st and June 1st. And then also at the Comedy Zone at Harrah's in Cherokee, North Carolina, June 6, 7, 8, 9. All of my dates are DerekRichards.com. And Dave's dates are at DaveLandau.com.
There you go.
There you go.
I think it's in the description. It might be.
It is.
Possibly. But while you're down there, like and subscribe. We have a really good guest today.
We have a fantastic guest today. We have a
intro them?
I will intro. I'm excited to do this. She is a 13 New York Times bestseller author.
That's a lot of books.
That's a lot of books. It's a ton of books. She's also a commentator, a columnist, and you can find her at AnnCoulter.substack.com, which blows the intro because I just gave your name.
You did.
Ann Coulter is here with us.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. You are an excellent substitute for Dave Landau.
Thank you so much. I hope Dave's watching that. I hope Dave's paying attention.
Oh, yeah.
So your last book was in, if I'm not mistaken, that was in 2016?
That was in Trump We Trust, and then I wrote one first year of the Trump administration. So I think it came out 2017,
then, yeah.
And not 18, which is, it's still relevant today. I can't write another book because I've said everything. And particularly, resistance is futile. It's about how, and I think everyone listening will sympathize with this. Trump will pull some total douche move, and I'm ready to sign up with the media. You're right, this guy, and then they have to gild the lily. They have to pile on like 29 things that he manifestly did not do.
Yeah.
And they drive me into defending him, which I don't want to do.
That's why he's so likable in a weird way. You go it makes him so crazy.
Yeah.
I don't like you.
No, it's true. Now, you've got to have a book in you about these past 4 years.
It's a weird way to say it.
It's all resistance is futile. It was back then, it was the Russia investigation.
Right.
And the whole campaign nonsense, the way they went after him during the campaign. And I liked him then. But they can't get past themselves. It keeps backfiring. We keep wondering, do they know that this hush money trial is going to get him elected?
Yeah, I know.
I hate the guy, and you got to vote for him.
Right. Well, your take, I would like to see your take on the last 4 years of the Biden administration. As much of a dumpster fire carnival in a grocery store parking lot that this administration has been,
like
I
a
would
roast.
love, I know, right? I would love to see, I would love to read something written by you about these past 4 years. Is there one in the making?
I don't think so, because this is sort of a boring point, but there's so much, minute by minute.
Right.
The throwing open the borders. I'm not sure I have something new I can point out. And by the way, the whole country is aware of it because they're sending them to the whole country. They're being flown to the whole country. So I don't think I have any breaking news on that. And most of this stuff, it gets so well reported. I'm not saying there's no point to books at all anymore, but there's kind of no point to books anymore.
Well, you got a Substack. So like you can get the minute
so
to
I can
minute
do it
news
minute
out.
by minute. It's really fun, and there's no censorship, no ads on Substack. I went there because I was being shadow banned by Twitter, and I couldn't take it. I'd have a joke and think, 6 of my friends are going to see this. I'm going to Substack.
Oh, definitely. Go on anncoulter.substack.com and check out your columns on there, which are absolutely brilliant. You spend most of your time, we were talking before the show, in New York.
Yep.
Yes.
New York, which is such a fun city to live in right
great
now,
place.
and really not a fun
paradise.
spot if you are an actor.
No, not if you're like a really great actor like Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
You get randomly punched.
Last Wednesday,
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi was attacked in New York City.
But why?
Punched in the face by an unidentified individual while walking in the Kips Bay neighborhood of New York City. Is that a nice area? I have
Yeah, it is. It totally is. That's why it's so scary.
It's so bizarre. So he's
And normal time of day. What time was it?
broad daylight.
Yeah, it was broad daylight.
I always check those things because it's one thing. I mean, it's bad enough when it happens at 3 a.m., but oh my gosh, now these crimes are happening at a time when a taxpayer would be out doing something legitimate.
Steve Buscemi is a national treasurer, and I think we need to get national treasurer. We should get together and hunt this man down. We need to punch
There's
him in the
pictures
face.
of the guy, and you see him, and we were talking about this again before the show. His attacker, who has not been captured yet, looked like he literally could be a gym teacher at any school anywhere. The guy looked like
Yes.
he walked out of the Nordstrom's activewear department.
Yes, he does not look like Willie Horton. You would not cross the street to avoid him.
You walk right next to him, and then
Steve Buscemi's publicist reported it to the media on Sunday, saying Steve Buscemi was assaulted in Midtown Manhattan, another victim of a random act of violence in the city. He is okay and appreciates everyone's well wishes, though incredibly sad for everyone that this has happened, while also walking the streets of New York. Police said that Buscemi's assailant, he bolted. The actor was reportedly taken to
There
the
he is.
hospital.
Yeah, there he
following
is.
the
dude looked like
attack.
he just got out of
That's the
gym.
attacker. Exactly, right there.
What's your
And
problem,
here's
guy?
Steve Buscemi up here, just looking
Just hanging
a
out.
little
Just
innocent.
chilling out.
Dude's a hero.
He's
Freaking fireman in-
swelling
in
to the eyes and the face.
9/11.
He was bloodied and bruised, but even after being bloodied and bruised, he still oddly looks better.
His face looks a little more sorted out.
Somehow it just like popped his eyes in.
Is this, you live in New York. I
Yes.
mean, we hear about all this stuff. We hear about it being a sanctuary city. We hear about all these people flooding in. Do you see this? Is this all legit, or is this being blown out of proportion?
It is not being blown out of proportion at all. Just yesterday, a woman, 39-year-old woman and her daughter, like in her teens, were walking in Times Square. They wanted to get, from Western Pennsylvania, wanted to get a little trinket, a New York City souvenir, go into one of these souvenir shops on Times Square. And this homeless guy sitting smoking, and you can see it. He just stands up, stabs her right in the chest. Again, middle of the day, and the headlines today says she'll never come back to New York. And I really notice these things for the time of day, for where they take place. I think this is actually worse than the 70s and 80s because, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like in the 70s and 80s, there were a lot of murders, a lot of rapes, a lot of horrible crimes, but they took place in really, really badass neighborhoods. You knew when you were in that neighborhood. No, now it's everywhere. It's Park Avenue, it's Midtown. Okay, Times Square isn't the greatest, but it's very touristy. You'd think they'd be protecting that. And one other thing, just, to bring some outrageous hate speech to our conversation, which I think we've unfortunately avoided so far.
Not on the show, total. So
The gym guy who punched Buscemi, this is so bad for black people because, like I say, during Giuliani and Bloomberg, I could walk past a black person on the street. I'd go into an ATM machine if there was only one black male standing there because I knew if he were a criminal, Giuliani or Bloomberg would have him in prison.
Yeah.
Well, now they've released them all. So all I have to go by are crime statistics. And all of these crimes, I'm sorry, every single one of them, it is a black male.
Well, and growing up in the city, I grew up in Detroit, and you knew areas to walk in and areas to not walk in, just because, and you had that sense about you. You'd walk into an area and you get a bad vibe.
Yes.
And you go, you got to honor that vibe.
Yes.
Well, like you said,
and not go any further. But now, if you're just walking around, and just hanging out in an area where there's some bodegas, coffee shops, pizza joints, whatever.
Bringing your kids.
Getting a souvenir. I mean, not for nothing, she got a legit New York souvenir. She got stabbed.
Right.
So, I mean,
Take that with me
if she got
everywhere I
stabbed
go.
in a bag of fentanyl, then,
That's the New York way.
it's a New York way.
When I went to LA, we were talking about this a little bit before. Why would you go to LA? It's horrible. But when I was there, I was on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and it was homeless people everywhere. It was kind of shady. There were people doing all kinds of stuff, and it was not a good part of town. But you would see families with their kids because they still think, oh, it's
tourism.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
I'm going to show up. And the same thing with New York. Like, I'm going to go to Times Square. That's where Spider-Man was.
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's not how it is projected to be through media.
It is pretty cool. I mean, in the
changed.
daytime, if you're not going to get stabbed, native
dodge.
New Yorkers probably wouldn't go to or try to avoid Times Square because it's very crowded. But it does have those huge, cool billboards and lots of stuff to see.
Like the difference in the 70s is Times Square looked like a scary place to go. So you kind of expected to be
Right.
scary. Now it's like, oh, this looks You know, like, it's not fair.
And it seemed like it's ramped up really within the past couple of years more so than anything else. Because I remember going and seeing Dave when he was in New York City, working there for a while. And I would go on his show over there, and we'd end up hanging out. We'd walk around at night, get some dinner, chill out, relax. And I never felt weird.
Yes.
And it just seemed like, I mean, when do you think this really started unfolding? Really within the past, 2-3 years maybe?
Yeah.
I think it was during COVID when de Blasio, and actually they did this all over the country. They tell all law-abiding citizens, it's a pandemic. You've got to stay locked up in your home. And, well, we have all these prisoners in a prison. We must release them. There's a pandemic. Wait, great. You got them where you want us to be.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
What was the logic of that? But they did release them all, and that made a huge difference there. And then Bragg came in, and Bragg will not prosecute anyone except Donald Trump. So all of these shock crimes, I love the New York Post for this, they'll list the guy's previous 18 arrests. And
They'll be like,
can't hold him.
what happened? Why did he do this?
Whatever.
We couldn't
It's just waving a machete around in a subway. That's nonviolent.
There's no way you could have known. It's going to be bagged. No.
Unbelievable.
What if we go from the East Coast to the West Coast and
Another dump.
another dump? San Francisco giving out shots to the homeless. And by shots, we mean alcohol.
To alcoholic homeless people.
Specifically. It's a
You
great
heard this,
plan.
Ann? Do you enjoy a cocktail from time to time? A glass of wine? Glass of bourbon? No?
Shot
under a
when I'm
bridge.
lying in my own feces.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank
time
you.
to have it.
A woman after my own heart. Well, you may, Ann, if you are fed up with New York and you would like to enjoy a free cocktail and
Francisco.
not have to pay rent or a mortgage, San Francisco is offering you an option, giving taxpayer-funded shots of vodka to homeless alcoholics in a $5 million program. Organizers claim, quote-unquote, improves participants' health. I've said this forever.
In the short
no
term,
one
it
listens
does.
to me.
In the short term, they
I've
feel
said
better.
I love Irish whiskey. No one's listening to me. Finally, someone's coming out. The program provides beer and vodka shots to homeless alcoholics in order to, quote, curb excessive drinking
That's not how it
and
works.
prevent deaths. The alcoholic drinks are served by nurses. That's now what we're calling.
That's even better.
And that is now the new hero. That is now a new bartender. That's a now new waitress. And call them nurses.
So they're giving out cocaine. They're giving out syringes. Now they're giving out
Giving out cocaine.
drinks.
Don't go
Is
off.
that another thing? Not a thing?
Don't go off the rails.
They're not giving out cocaine?
Not that maybe
yet.
your nurse does.
Oh, that's a different thing.
Apparently, they're giving them, typically, they serve them the equivalent of 1 to 2 drinks between 3 and 4 times a day.
What?
1.7. By
is
the
a
way, a
lot.
1.7 ounce
That's a
vodka
lot.
pour, which is like what I would pour
double
my
shot.
friends at my house. That's not a bartender's pour, for the record.
It's a 3-finger at least.
That should get them off the streets, though. I think it's really going to work, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to put me on the streets.
I know, exactly. Me too.
It's so crazy, the ideas San Francisco comes up with. Once you, like, excise all common sense, and instead of putting crazy people and homeless people in homes where they actually can be taken care of, and I'm sorry, it's got to be against their will, which is why you need to keep drugs criminal, because that's how you force drug addicts to get the treatment. If you don't have grounds to confine them someplace, no drug addict is, yes, please let me get off this drug that makes me feel so great. No, they never do that. And San Francisco, preceding this fantastic idea, which I didn't know until you guys sprung it on me, and it's good. Go San Francisco. They had one, I don't know, a year ago, sometime in the last year, they had a big poster with all these, it's like an ad for jeans or something, all these good-looking young people happy at a party. And the ad is, if you take fentanyl, do it with friends.
What?
That's not how it works, San Francisco.
Where was this?
Of course, San Francisco.
Stop
Let's
it.
see if I can find that.
Because then if they die or if they
cocaine.
overdose, there will be someone there to give them Narcan. That's
But
the
if they're all
logic
taking the
behind it.
drugs, then there won't.
Well, hopefully one won't overdose, I suppose, is the logic.
Their tolerance will be high enough.
I like how they're trying to find the logic. This actually, they say the experts involved in the program say that it has actually helped to keep homeless alcoholics out of hospitals. Yeah, jails, and even from dying. But some argue that spending money on detox and recovery will be a better use of taxpayers' money. The Salvation Army, which pushes for complete abstinence of alcohol.
Ridiculous.
Salvation Army says no booze, no nothing, which is why I am not a fan of Salvation Army. The point is, they're giving the city a hard time for spending public funds on the initiative. And San Francisco's mayor, London Breed, appears to be at odds with her own public health department, believing the technique of harm reduction was not actually reducing the harm, but making things far worse. Really?
I don't believe her.
Yeah.
Who thought
Where are her
that giving a
experts?
bunch of homeless alcoholics more booze?
If I could engage in a little more hate speech,
Oh, yes.
thank you.
By all means.
We spend an awful lot of money on people who are unsalvageable and contribute nothing to society.
Listen, Dave is not here right now, so it's bad to talk about our
We saw the video.
So I'm thinking the main point of the government should be, number one, to keep them away from us. And number two, to do it as cheaply as possible and use all that money helping, the young geniuses in kindergarten or the great athletes in junior high school or whomever the next Elon Musk is, instead of just the millions upon billions, I'm sure, that is just spent on things that aren't going to make them any better and will never allow them to get a job.
I think the very least we should not be giving them alcohol.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
It's a good
Fair point.
grassroots effort. Now, public health officials in San Francisco, backing up their program here, say the managed alcohol program, which, by the way, is what I'm going to call my binge drinking.
It's managed.
Managed alcohol program has saved the city $1.7 million over a period of 6 months because that money would have otherwise been spent on emergency room visits or hospital stays for
So they
these.
spent $5 million to save $1 million?
Yes.
That's the plan.
Great.
Sounds
That's
like a government plan.
that sounds like me at the casino.
Yeah, makes sense. That's right. Yeah.
Hey, I won
Guys.
$1. Would you spend $5? Perfect. What a great idea.
Dude, we need to set up more cameras in San Francisco. I think it's like more. We should make it a reality show.
Yes.
We should
Yes.
send you to San Francisco next, I think.
I don't want to go there. But if you'll like and subscribe, I'll go there.
Okay.
Hey, well played. Apparently, Donald Trump is a big Hannibal Lecter fan.
Have you seen this clip?
I heard about this. It's
I've heard about it. I haven't seen it.
This is absolutely beautiful. During Trump's Wildwood, New Jersey rally on Saturday, May 11th,
How does he find the time, man?
the expert can't
Court all the time.
be in court all the time.
I guess right.
I mean, most of the time.
He's like, I got 5 minutes. Let's do a rally.
He went off on a bizarre tangent in Wildwood, New Jersey at his rally about Hannibal Lecter, the serial killer from the 1991 movie Silence of the Lambs. Go ahead and roll this clip. This is hilarious.
Silence of the Lambs. Has anyone ever seen a Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter is a wonderful man. He oftentimes would have a friend for dinner. Remember the last scene? Excuse me, I'm about to have a friend for dinner as this poor doctor walked by. I'm about to have a friend for dinner, but Hannibal Lecter, congratulations, the late, great Hannibal Lecter. We have people that are being released into our country.
100% he just watched the movie last night and he was like, you guys know Hannibal Lecter. He's
Best
great.
part, the best part of watching that clip was watching the
Hannibal
reactions of all three of your faces, which was hysterical.
Well, I was kind of waiting to see where he's going with this. Do we know what the next what he
He
was
was
saying?
talking about the border crisis and how there's people coming in. He didn't relate it to the movie at all. He just
went right into it.
into another.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
like,
know.
obviously,
if he was
Hannibal
trying to say
Lecters
that
are coming across the border.
Hannibal
in numbers.
Lecter likes Mexican food,
Yeah.
which would have.
I think he ended up saying something like, he had a friend for dinner. These are not our friends. We shouldn't have them for dinner or something.
Well, one thing I think he might have been doing. Didn't he compare? Can you Google this?
I can.
I think he compared the judge in the Hush Money case to Hannibal Lecter. And as you all know, if I'm right about that, I think that's what he was doing because he is under the gag order. He's not. He's
it's like
apparently not allowed to compare the judge to Hannibal Lecter. But if he then follows it up at a rally speech and says, "Cool guy," Hannibal Lecter.
The late great.
See if I'm right about that.
It's all I see is him saying it. It's about the migrants, but Trump compares judge to Hannibal Lecter. That's
Okay,
all
well,
I'm
you
getting
can come in later.
Yeah,
on that one.
I'll keep listening.
So funny. We actually have a. This is fun. We actually have a response from Hannibal Lecter to this. Go ahead and roll that clip.
Hello. I see you have Ann Coulter on today. You look lovely. Derek, that shirt is hideous. You need to learn to dress yourself like you're not peacocking all the time around a gay bar. I should know. I've spent lots of time there. What people need to know is that Trump was joking. He was mocking me, saying that I'm insane as the people who have come in from Mexico. Maybe that's true. I have had a friend for dinner. That's true. I did. It was Joe Biden's uncle. I ate him in New Guinea like a salad. It was delightful. I swirled my tongue around. I had every reason to enjoy it. Sometimes I get very alone, very lonely. I'm going to go now. I don't think I've helped.
Thank you, Hannibal.
I'm not. I'm upset being insulted by Hannibal Lecter about my peacocking gay bar shirt, but
He hit the nail on the head. I'll tell
But yeah, it's pretty accurate.
hey,
If you don't know, Hannibal Lecter
easy.
got good taste. Got good taste, so you should listen to him.
Hannibal Lecter. You know what Hannibal Lecter likes also?
Well,
A good night's sleep.
oh, dude, who doesn't? Nobody. Everybody likes to sleep in a nice, comfy, Miracle Made sheet.
Yes.
That's right. They sleep cool at night. You get all hot. No, not in these sheets. They're high quality. They're inspired by NASA. I don't know what that means, but they tell me to say it. Miracle Made sheets. So go
If
try.
you're an
it.
astronaut, you're going to sweat.
Yeah.
And bacteria
I
comes out of
imagine.
your sweat. And so Miracle Made
Those big puffy,
put together these sheets.
like a spaceman suit.
Yes.
They're all like nice and puffy. In there, I bet it's nice.
You know what it is? All inside those spacesuits, Miracle Made
Miracle
sheets.
Made sheets.
temperature controlled.
It's
Temperature
it's-
controlled. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's got like silver bits in it. I said that one time and people didn't believe me.
It's modal.
It's really in there. What is that? I don't even know what that is. It's a miracle. That's why they call it Miracle Made. So trymiracle.com/normal and you can get your sheets today.
Go to trymiracle.com/normal to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%.
What?
And
Wait.
Come on.
There's more. There's more.
If you use our promo normal at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. And that's not all, because
Dang.
Miracle is so confident in their product, it's back with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you're not out anything. Upgrade your sleep. Go to trymiracle.com/normal. Use that code normal for the 3-piece towel set and over 40%.
It's a
you
bath
save.
towel, hand towel, wash rag.
That's so much.
Trymiracle.com/normal.
Save money, 40% plus an extra 20.
Do it.
That's
What's better than that?
So much.
Nothing.
nothing.
You know what's who doesn't like to
What are you gonna? How
Are you
gonna
gonna get in this one? How are you gonna get into this one? Insta dog death.
thank you. Thank you for covering
We
for
have a
me.
trend going on in the last couple of weeks of Normal World where we report on dogs dying. And it's very sad for everyone, but sometimes it's justified.
Over the Easter weekend, Angie Harmon, actress, accused an Instacart delivery driver of shooting and killing her dog, Oliver, and being let go by the police. They let the Instacart driver go, who allegedly shot and killed Angie Harmon's dog, saying that the Instacart driver claims, quote-unquote, self-defense. According to an Instagram post from Harmon, he got out of his car, delivered the food, then shot our dog. That seems like an odd chain of events.
Yeah. Was there anything else that happened? In
Our
that
ring
scenario?
camera was charging in the house, she says, which he saw, and then knew he wasn't being recorded.
So then he shot the dog.
So he's saying the dog attacked him and he...
Yeah, he's saying that he shot the dog because he was attacked.
Wait, you can tell if a ring camera isn't recorded?
You'd have to be
That's a very strange-
There seems like there's a lot going
Spends
on
a lot of
here.
time on
I think
porches,
that
though.
would be a flaw in the products.
I have
needs to be
Instacart
charged.
all the time because I'm a lazy piece of garbage. And so, yes, I can use a little thing of creamer.
You have to
and
take
I
it
will have
off.
somebody come and bring it to my house and pay an extra $7 because I'm an ass. But
You have to
they
take
come
it off
by.
the charger.
they come by, boom, drop the stuff off, they're gone. That's the end of the transaction. But
Not in this
according to
one.
this,
He gets out.
this was a male driver who was shopping under a woman's identity named Merle. When I asked him
that
earlier.
was the part that gave the whole game away. I think he's competing to be Trump's vice president. And he thought Kristi Noem got a leg up on him.
Yeah.
So now he's a woman, and has shot a dog.
The male driver identifying as a woman, carrying a gun and killing dogs.
You could tell that dog was untrainable.
You check all the boxes on that one. You do. By the way, anybody in here know a lady named Merle off the top of their head?
No, I don't.
That is such an old-fashioned
I
name.
know a guy
That's
that owns a
funny.
gas
That
station.
is a way. Harmon shared a screenshot of the delivery confirmation, which featured a photo of a woman, because you see who's shopping for your food. Quote, he shot our dog with my daughters and myself at home and just kept saying, yeah, I shot your dog. Yeah, I did, she explained. We are completely traumatized and beyond devastated at the loss of our beloved boy and family member. Now, listen, I'm not a fan of Rizzoli and Isles. I thought the show sucked, but I'm not going to kill the actress's dog.
Well, I don't know. Who could have seen it? You never see these men dressed as women doing anything odd. They seem fine.
Yeah, totally normal.
They seem completely,
Always.
seem completely stable. I just don't know. And apparently, like I read more of the story, like the driver had no signs of injury. There wasn't like torn clothing. There wasn't any blood where the
It was
dog
just like the dog showed its teeth. Gun.
But I mean, who's showing up? I mean, obviously, I'm assuming Angie Harmon's house isn't in
Right.
dumpy neighborhood.
Right.
This is outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. where
That's
she lives.
interesting that the dog was growling at her. Maybe they're trying to tell us something about trans,
Yes.
because they do have very good instincts.
The dog
That's the
identified
pheromones.
the trans shopper,
Yeah.
realized
And thinks this is nuts.
this.
This has nuts.
It's funny.
What the heck?
What I'm saying is that man had rights.
Go!
You did it.
Nailed it.
You did it.
I just don't know how do we have to rely on Angie Harmon's dog to be the barometer
Tell us this is great.
to tell us that this is jacked up?
At first, I was thinking, why does he have a gun? But then the Steve Buscemi story came, and I was like, maybe sometimes you got to protect yourself.
Yeah, what town, where does she
This
live?
is outside of Charlotte in Mecklenburg County.
Okay, I'm sorry, that is not New York City.
No, yeah,
No,
that's
well, and it's
North
not.
Carolina.
And I'm assuming that neighborhood that
okay,
she
never
lives
mind.
in
Right,
isn't
I'm
gonna
with
be
you.
the hood.
Yeah.
You come walking up there with your Instacart with your organic carrots and bananas and
Also,
a
that
bag
dog
of
was
chips with a Glock 19 loaded.
true. That dog was quite small. So, well, I
He
mean,
did look small and sweet.
Yeah.
I didn't even see the picture.
Weird
of the
scenario.
dog.
It was right there.
What was the picture? I'm sorry, I missed the picture of the dog.
There it is.
Yeah, look at that. Oh,
Keys.
Really? Okay.
It looked like a nice medium-sized dog.
No, I mean it's not like it was some trained killer.
I got to see
Seen
this.
him
I wish
lunging
there
out
was
of the
footage.
house with, wearing some medieval chain and with the spikes hanging out of it, and like it's some gargoyle that should be guarding the top of the
The
building,
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
Notre Dame.
It's true.
Unreal.
Crazy.
Well, this woman was robbed of her dog.
She was.
I'm trying to segue.
I'll be. Well played.
Thanks.
That Instacart driver got a horrible rating, by the way.
I'm sure.
When you kill someone's dog, they have a tendency to give you 1 star.
It's the name.
Half star, really.
Half star. Would not recommend.
No.
Do not ask for Merle.
Don't do that. What is Insta anyways? Is that
I
like
don't
food or something?
Yeah,
There's
they
too
buy
many
your
of these.
groceries for you.
Oh, crap.
I hate them because actually it probably wasn't them. It was probably a Nigerian prince. I've had a few.
I know that guy.
Yeah. I've had a
I know somebody
few
once.
unauthorized purchases on my credit card recently, which is great because now I have to call up every service I have and give them my new credit card number. But anyway, the last one, the first one, I thought this could be a fluke. It was Vimeo. I have no idea what Vimeo is. I don't use it. And the other one was Instacart just last week. So that's how I found out what Instacart is. And
it exists?
Nope, never used it.
Never used an Instacart. And do you have a dog?
Anymore.
No, but I have a Nigerian prince who has my old credit card number.
He's a good guy. He'll get that money back to you.
It's just taking a long time.
Listen,
It's
he
tough. He's
borrowed
a tough spot.
$10,000 to pay you back $300,000. It takes a while to get here, Ann. Sent it through FTX. That's kind of held up right now. So, what are you going to do? Robbing at the border.
It's happening a lot, I hear.
The border crisis.
Yeah.
A disaster.
It's a big bad
However,
thing happening.
Some people, QB, Angela, Ann, are making some good money off of this. A group of nonprofits are getting rich off of government contracts thanks to Joe Biden's border crisis.
Yay.
The federally funded unaccompanied children program is responsible for resettling unaccompanied migrant minors who enter the U.S., but it delegates much of the task to non-governmental organizations, or as they call them, NGOs, that run shelters.
Ngos.
What?
It was Ngos.
NGOs, yes.
That's how I read it.
NGOs. We'll go with NGOs for you. They run shelters in the border states of Texas, Arizona, and California. These people are making big bank. Charles Marino, former advisor to Janet Napolitano, the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security under Obama, said of the NGOs, quote, the amount of taxpayer money they are getting is obscene. We're going to find that the waste, fraud, and abuse of taxpayer money will rival that of what we saw with the COVID federal money.
Yeah.
Government involved in some
So they're trafficking
shady money
kids
deals?
for money?
They're not. Don't make it worse.
Not exactly trafficking. They're just wrecking our country.
Well, I think it's a side project.
I prefer the trafficking.
Just give them alcohol. Just
Then
give
you
them
have a
migrant
limited
children.
set of victims. Now our victim group is the entire world once America doesn't exist anymore. And I'm glad people are finally finding out about NGOs. It's such a sneaky name.
Ngos, yeah.
Yeah, NGOs, exactly. Because non-government, I don't know, for a conservative like me, fantastic. The government is, no. Right. There is not one good NGO. It's a scam for leftists to funnel taxpayer money to themselves. And that's what's bringing in these now, 20 million illegals under Biden. They give them maps in Mexico. They give them scripts to read when they get to the border to say which country they're from. And, oh, yes, this is mommy, this is daddy, my drug trafficker, the coyote.
Right.
And then they send them to like Lutheran Immigrant Services, Jewish Immigrant Services. And they make so much money off of, Catholics, they're the worst. No, probably Lutherans. I'm not sure. They're all very, very bad. I mean, of the immigrant services, not
All
the
of the
churches.
services.
I didn't mean the churches, but all these phony immigrants, helpers, they're just getting the third world here so that we'll be a third world country. And then, good luck to you, third world, when you have a hurricane and there's no United States of America to save you.
Well, and they're making tons of money off of these people coming through. So when everybody says, oh, why is the border wide open? Well, because these companies that are making all this money, you think they're keeping all the money? No.
No.
As well as I do, this money's all getting funneled to whatever politician keeps them in business. So
We get in on this.
some of these services here, you look at this stuff and
Ngo?
the NGOs, you look at these people that are making the money that they're making. I mean, well, first off, they're saying that some of the services the NGOs use taxpayer funds for are to offer migrant children pet therapy, horticulture therapy, and music therapy. Yeah.
At least it's important.
And there is not one shot of vodka or a beer or a glass of wine being given to any of these people, which I think listen, if I'm going to swim across the Rio Grande or walk through a big chunk of Mexico, I would enjoy a cocktail.
Well, get yourself to San Francisco.
Exactly. Southwest Keys, federal disclosure, one of the NGOs, federal disclosure forms show that in 2022, 6 executives made more than $400,000 with its total payroll in 2022.
Saying we need to get on these ingos.
$465 million.
And lots of them pay themselves $1 million a year.
Right.
And I just keep this in mind when both Republicans and Democrats say to you, to save Social Security, we're going to have to raise the retirement age. We're going to have to, tighten our belts. We're going to have to, make it means tested. No, you're giving all of our money to bring the third world here.
Yeah.
In goes the money.
Oh. Nicely done. Well played, Angela.
Thanks.
One of the most shocking figures was the size of Endeavor's 2022 contract with the government, a staggering $1.3 billion, which is by far the largest sum ever granted to an NGO working at the border. And then while some of these NGOs have long had operations at the border, quote, what is new under Biden is the amount of taxpayer money being awarded. Mm-hmm. The lack of accountability for performance and the lack of interest in solving the problem.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That Jessica Vaughn, who was the director of policy studies at the Center for Immigration.
Yes, she's been all over this for years. And I'm glad it's finally getting out. I mean, I'm kind of surprised you brought it up as a topic because I've known about this, but what can you do? It's been going on forever.
Well, you had just retweeted.
Yeah.
The story about that.
Yeah, I retweet Jessica Vaughn a lot.
Yeah.
When did it begin? Was it under Obama?
Oh
or was
no,
it
it's
before
been,
that?
well, NGOs have existed. They do other horrible things. I would defy anyone to find an NGO that is not doing bad things in the world and making the world worse. But a lot of them are, like international neocon type things. They're over and for, but none of them, as far as I know, have ever contributed one good thing to society. It's mostly just a leftist ripoff scheme.
It's like the government.
Yeah. Duh. It is the government.
Yeah.
Going back to your state, Ann. Chris Cuomo.
I thought this guy left. I thought this guy went away.
He does not go away. He comes back like the pest control guy who said he's going to kill all the roaches
and herpes.
And yes, and Chris Cuomo is a blend between a cockroach and a herpy.
Yeah,
you can't kill him with a raid or
nuclear bombs or anything
or herpy drugs. Anyhow, his stance on ivermectin as a therapeutic drug for COVID-19 has done a complete 180. Huh. Can you believe this? A Cuomo switching gears, other direction. The news anchor who once said on CNN that anyone promoting it as in ivermectin should be, quote unquote, shamed. Now, says he's taking a regular dose of ivermectin to deal with his own struggles.
What?
With the long-term effects, Chris, of unemployment. I mean, an infection.
Chris, come on.
Chris, you. Cuomo shared in January that he is suffering from long COVID.
Oh, that's where you get COVID.
That's and it just
goes away.
Sticks around. Long COVID. He recently went on the PBD podcast, a current events show
Wait a
hosted
second,
by Patrick Bet-David. Yes, sir.
Sorry. Does that mean that he got COVID at some point?
Yes.
Wasn't he vaccinated?
Of course. Wait a minute.
Wait.
Are you trying to say that the vaccines don't work?
I'm just asking questions here.
All right. Canceled. That was QB who said that. He went on the PBD podcast hosted by Patrick Bet-David and said he's using the antiviral medication ivermectin to help with an ongoing inflammatory response and quote unquote brain fog. I call that a hangover, but whatever. On the PBD podcast, Cuomo further walked back his comments on the drug by suggesting that part of the reason ivermectin was so vehemently rejected was that there was no profit in a drug that was already inexpensive and widely distributed.
Which is
knew?
What the ivermectin proponents were saying forever. And by the way, I don't think ivermectin works for COVID, but there was no reason to be against people taking it because as we all knew, it was safe.
Yeah.
It was safe. It wasn't going to hurt you.
Right.
That the hysteria against a drug that, again, don't think it helps. But on the other hand, I don't think long haul COVID exists. So may as well take a fake drug for a fake disease. That can't hurt either.
It does. It's just in the form of the vaccination, and other side effects come out. There's court cases about that.
Well, you know what's so
what?
funny is I go down.
Cloggy court cases.
Yes.
About vaccination side effects?
I didn't say that. That wasn't me.
Keep the camera on QB. Keep it on him. Keep that awkward look on his face.
Didn't say it.
Perfect.
I'm asking
Even
questions.
the New York Times had a big article like 2 weeks ago on COVID side effects.
Yeah.
They're finally admitting it.
It's wild. I think there was a court in Canada that just ruled that it was unlawful to fire people over not getting the vaccination. And like all these things are coming out now.
A little late.
Like,
Yeah.
way late, guys.
Sure is.
We're all trying to tell you.
Man, I wish DeSantis were our nominee.
He was my guy.
The only one
He was
that got
my guy.
COVID right.
Yes.
Only one, yeah.
The only politician. Well, there's the president of Sweden and Ron DeSantis.
Then he started wearing those high heels and it was weird.
What?
No, you didn't. DeSantis in the high heels?
I don't recall
Where
that.
they
He doesn't wear high heels. He does wear boots. Cowboy. And, being in Texas, I think you should know that lots of men like wearing boots.
Very high boots.
They weren't.
I don't think they were. They were just cowboy boots.
Wasn't dancing
yes,
at a
that's the
gentleman's
joke.
club.
That's the joke.
For the love of humanity. What is wrong with you? I went down to Florida all the time during COVID, and I was working down there.
Wasn't it great?
And I did. I literally was going to states that were open.
Yes.
And I called it the Red State Tour.
Yeah.
And I was going to Florida, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas. I'm like, I'm working.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm not going to sit back here. So I loved how DeSantis handled that. Whatever anybody's opinions are on that, that's fine. But I wasn't going to sit back here and not work.
And hilariously, Chris Cuomo's brother, Andrew Cuomo, remember when the left was just head over heels? They wanted him to be the presidential nominee, and the liberal women were having sex dreams about him. These liberal women are always having sex dreams about Democratic politicians. It's kind of weird. And they wanted him to replace Biden. It's got to be Cuomo. And now every single thing he did on COVID was wrong. And he did a lot of them. I'm bringing in those ships. He was the one who closed the schools in New York.
Didn't they send the prisoners into old folks' homes? Was that the New York?
They
New
sent
York? There's a lot of things going on at
Michigan,
that time.
They sent
Michigan.
the infected back to the old folks' homes. And although a lot of these, he also made all the hospitals in New York send their ventilators to New York City hospitals. And now we know it was the ventilators that was killing them.
people. Yes, exactly.
And the nursing home thing was, if you went to a hospital, you're an old folk, or you're living in a nursing home, you have COVID, the nursing home couldn't turn you away. They had to let you back in, even though you were infected with COVID. And some say, try to come up with another excuse for that. That was totally a left-wing non-discrimination thing. It was like from the AIDS era. No, we will not tell a rape victim if your rapist had AIDS. I'm sorry, we cannot discriminate. That would be releasing health information. And it was the same thing with COVID. No nursing homes. You cannot block someone who has COVID to a lot of, very, very most vulnerable people. So a lot of them died.
Unreal.
Hey,
Well, we've gone about 5 minutes without talking about Stormy Daniels.
have.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, we're gonna write that wrong right now. Stormy Daniels went on Bill Maher years ago and said she was not pressured to sleep with Trump. Now she is saying the opposite. Yeah, Bill Maher had pulled out footage of his 2018 interview with the former porn star. Which, by the way, I have a friend of mine who's also a mutual friend of Dave's. Stormy Daniels was dancing at a gentleman's club, and my buddy was hammered, went up there to the stage, and he bit her in the ass.
Wow.
Real Ted Bundy
Is he
of him.
in court now?
He was escorted away from the stage, but that's his big claim to fame right now. Anyhow,
I bet that butt.
Bill Maher pulled out this footage of his 2018 interview with the former porn star in which she laughed off suggestions that she was coerced into having sex during the alleged hookup 12 years earlier. Quote, "It is not a Me Too case. I wasn't assaulted. I wasn't attacked or raped or coerced
Wow.
or blackmailed. She wasn't any of those things.
You really
covering
shouldn't
all of
say
the
that
bases.
She
stuff.
covered all that stuff in the
If you're
interview.
gonna try.
Yes, exactly. That's a great picture of her, too.
Yeah.
The drawing looks amazing. That's very different from what she said under oath, you guys, saying her hands were shaking and she blacked out during the encounter. She also added there was an imbalance of power for sure. He was bigger and blocking the way. Now, I read the whole story. She apparently walked out of his hotel room, came back in, and he's laying there on the bed, ready for loving. Got boxers on and a T-shirt.
Okay.
Please, ladies, stop fantasizing. Picture.
Yeah. Right now.
Number 45, boxers and a T-shirt, ready for magic.
Yeah, what's the problem?
I mean,
Thank you, Angela, being the voice of reason.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like she's had sex with 250 men on. Oh, wait, sorry.
yeah.
No, she has.
It happened. It did happen, yeah.
I can see why she was shocked by this image.
I mean, look, I don't want to like blame the victim or whatever the modern kids say these days, but if you go to an adult man's private room, what do you think you're doing?
And you're a porn star.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What do
I
you
know.
think you're doing?
Unbelievable. So
Ridiculous.
apparently her overworked wizard's sleeve was not going to be seeing anything of Donald Trump, according to this.
That's the line.
That's it.
That's the line. Donald Trump, the
It was
line.
not used in the Bill Maher interview, but
Incidentally, I don't think he had sex with her.
You don't think so?
you don't think so?
I think he did.
Really?
I think he did.
Nope.
Okay.
Why don't you think so?
Why?
I don't think she was even alone in the room with him. I think they met. And I
Oh,
think
you think the whole thing is just a...
well, her being in the room from that moment, that's the one part of the story. So yeah, of course they met at this golf thing. I mean, she is a porn star. And contra everything the New York Times has been telling me from the last 2 weeks, yes, I do kind of look down on that. So he's a
negative thing, I would say.
He's a huge star. She would have taken something from his room. Forget him ever running. If he had never run for president, he was the host of The Apprentice. It's a big thing. You take something, you get a sock, a cufflink, you'd get some proof that you had been there. Not necessarily to blackmail him, but to brag to your friends about this. Have you ever been with people who will go on and on about, oh, and Keanu Reeves was at the table next to me? I don't know
Eric
why
all the
people
time.
care about that. It drives me mad. But a lot of people are like that, and I would think that a porn star would be very much like that.
I take souvenirs from everybody I've slept with. I have 2 souvenirs.
Anything, an ear?
That's it. Maybe.
They're not using the whole thing.
Not a fan of Anne reading my diary anymore now.
I have a question though. So if they didn't have sex though, he gave her money.
Yes, but he also gave money to, I think, a lot of famous rich people pay nuisance suits. I think remember there was a doorman he also gave money
Yeah.
to? And $100,000, even if he's lying about how much he's worth. I mean, she was extorting him, and this was just something he didn't want to deal with. So throw her $100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I think
Also, he's a germaphobe, and the kind of girl he always wanted to have
Was his daughter.
was his daughter. And second,
that relationship is weird.
Second,
of
Glad we
to
made
his
it weirder.
daughter,
A lot of weirdness going
He
on.
always talks about how hot she is.
He does. He's just really proud of his genes.
Yeah.
he always wanted a very upstanding, proper, like Upper East Side girl, and he couldn't get them because he has that ridiculous accent, which is why he's married 2 foreigners and a Southerner, because they don't recognize. It's kind of tacky. So he wants that. His self-image wouldn't allow him, I think, to sleep with a porn star.
Yeah, I guess if you're a germaphobe, I guess you'd be a little more, reluctant to, hop in the sack with a petri dish from the CDC in Atlanta. See what you can pull out of
Okay,
this.
better put than I put it. Yes.
More succinct.
I'm a big fan of Bill Maher. I love his show, Real Time, and so the fact that this interview had popped up on the show is great. But you had a great experience on Bill Maher recently, right after the shooting in Kansas City, when you were on there. You were on the show, and you had commented on the identity of the Kansas City shooter. The panel seemed blown away by your assessment. Let's go ahead and see this clip, if we can, please.
Watch it while you can. This is being scrubbed from the internet.
The Super Bowl shooter.
We have some idea.
What?
If it were a white man shooting, we'd know.
Well, we don't know. But they haven't.
That's how we know it's not a white man. I can tell you that much.
But you think they're repressing that reporting?
They wouldn't tell us about the transgender woman that shot up the Christian school for what, like a year? San Bernardino out here. Remember the crazy terrorist Muslims? That's when I first noticed, they're not telling us who it is. It's not a white male. The longer they go without telling you, it's not a white male.
Okay.
I love the reaction.
How to react.
The discomfort of everybody, including Bill. And then who was the on the panel also?
Van Jones.
Van
I love
Jones.
him. He's one of the few liberals who will go on with me, so love him.
Yeah, great guy. I always love when he's on the show. How was that reaction legit that they had?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, because I've seen
They weren't just mugging it for the camera to try to make it look more egregious of what you were saying?
No.
They legit
I'm
believe that.
sorry to say people have never heard that before. They have never heard things like that before. My friend Heather McDonald and I have remarked on, even in front of, we give a lot of speeches, even in front of a group of Republicans. And Republicans are willing to, consider facts that the New York Times isn't telling us. If you so much as use the word white, you can feel the entire audience freeze up. I'll give you another example. My niece, I love her, but she's, recent college grad and one of my favorite reporters. I won't name him, but he's now working for the New York Times. He's really smart, really funny. And so I'm meeting them for dinner one night. And I don't know why this occurred to me, but I sat down and said, whenever I turn on the shower and on the 38th floor, I just push a button or pull up a knob and suddenly I have clean, safe, hot water. And I thank God for white men. And they both...
No.
So
ridiculous.
This is a private dinner with a family member and a friend, and they literally did not know what I was talking about. And I said, do you think that was invented in Africa? And then they started giving me that jab.
That was the Romans.
They started packing up your stuff.
What's his name?
Give me a to-go box for your meal.
Guns, steel. Oh, it's just an accident that every major invention came from the West. We got lucky.
I would have killed to have been at that dinner.
And I wasn't saying it to
looks.
shock them. I was just really happy that high up in the sky, I can turn a knob and there it is.
Things are possible.
I couldn't have done it.
No. Clean water, invented by clean hot water, invented by white people, which brings us to
white men.
The end of the world.
Ooh. Derek, what do you got here?
What do I got here? Michael Cohen. He took the stand again today in the Trump hush money trial. What should he have tried to pay off Stormy Daniels with besides money? QB.
Vaginal tightening cream.
I just have a pet peeve when people say vaginal. I'm sorry.
It's got to be loose down there. Angela?
or vaginal tightening cream.
You don't like Angela?
Either one.
I just did. Does that exist? That'd be cool.
I think so.
Okay.
Does a vaginal sanitary wipe exist? Because that'll be my vote.
Okay.
Just because you like
one of those ones.
You're going to need more than a wipe.
I'm going to say Valtrex.
That would be a good one. I'm going to say all the Mike Pence dong she can handle.
Oh, yeah.
And Coulter. And Coulter.substack.com. Find her there. Thank you so much for being on the show here today.
Thank you for having me. This was a blast.
Thank you so much. Dave Landau is going to be at the Summit City Comedy Club in Fort Wayne, Indiana, June 14th and 15th. I will be at the Traverse City Comedy Club May 31st and June 1st.
Yeah.
And then also at the Harrah's Casino, Cherokee, North Carolina, Comedy Zone, June 6, 7, 8, 9. And my website's DerekRichards.com. QB, where can they find you?
Me?
QB?
Tomorrow, right here on this channel with Gothix. If you don't know Gothix, she's a great commentator, streamer, and content creator. So check us out tomorrow, and also my own personal channel, Quarter Black Garrett on YouTube.
And find his vaginal tightening cream.
It's like when people say clitoris.
Wherever.
I don't like that. It's not a dinosaur.
It's not a Jurassic Park.
Right.
No, it's not.
They're hard to find.
I think we're done.
See you tomorrow.
Not that hard.
Goodbye.